Hello there. In this video, we will look at the GROW coaching model. You'll learn or be reminded of each of the stages of a great coaching conversation, and I'll give you some example questions that you can use for each of those stages. This video is only an overview of the GROW model and doesn't include all the other elements of coaching. Those are covered in other videos. If you're planning to do some coaching, then this will be a perfect reminder for you of the basics. The GROW model provides a simple structure for your coaching conversations and can be used in sessions that last anywhere between 5 minutes and several hours. In the model, there are 4 stages. The G stands for goal, the R is for reality, the O stands for options, and the W is for what's to be done, by when, by whom, and the will to do it. Of course, you'll probably move back and forth between those stages, but the main thing is that you consider each of those stages when you're coaching. So let's work through these stages one at a time, starting with G for goals. Clearly, goals are important. Without a goal of some kind, we have no idea what we're aiming for or what direction to go in. And as you start any coaching conversation with a coachee, there are 2 levels of goals for you to consider. Firstly, the goal for the session. This could be an action plan or simply more awareness about a problem or ideas around something that is important for the coachee. Secondly, the goal for the specific issue to be discussed that is important to them at that time. Now, in this regard, there are different types of goals, so let's talk about these one by one. The first type of goal we could call the dream. This is the desired long-term ideal. For example, a dream might be wanting to be healthy, to be successful, and to make a difference in the world. It's quite broad and general, and it will always be there in the background for us and will subtly influence our lives and the choices that we make. The second type of goal is the end goal. This is a significant objective that your coachee wants to achieve. For example, it could be running their own business or maybe selling that business, or becoming a senior manager, or perhaps beyond the work environment, something like winning a sporting event. An end goal provides the inspiration and motivation to take action. It's a real image in your coachee's mind of an end state that they can describe in quite some detail. And they have some control over it, but not total control. The third type is the performance goal. This is what your coachee has much more control over. For example, in a business context, this could be the number of orders processed, or total sales, or total net profit. Or if it's sports related, perhaps running 10 kilometers in 45 minutes. A performance goal gives your coachee the specification for their actions. It's a stepping stone towards their end goal. And when it comes to performance goals for them, you'd be wise to ensure that they're what we could call SMART. SMART as in specific, measurable, agreed, realistic, and time-phased. If all these factors are considered when designing the goal, then your chances of success are increased. So it's useful then to help your coachee to think about all these 3 types of goals, but especially their end goal and the performance goals that will take them there. Some good questions you might ask your coachee in this first stage of the conversation include questions like, what would you like to get out of this session? What would you like to be different when we finish this conversation? What is your dream? What is your end goal? What are you ultimately seeking to achieve? What performance goal would support that end goal? What is something that is in your control and will help you move towards that end goal? Once the coachee has defined a goal for the coaching session and a specific performance goal for the issue that's important to them, then you can proceed to the next stage. Now, don't worry if the performance goal is not that well defined at this point. You can always come back to it. Don't skip over this goal-setting stage to get to the current reality too soon. If you do this, you may limit the coachee's thinking to just a quick fix for a current problem without them remembering the bigger picture and what they're trying to achieve. The next stage then is R for reality. Once you and the coachee have identified the goal for the session and the performance goal, it's time to take a good look at where the coachee is right now. Your job in this stage is to ask questions that enable your coachee to become aware of the bare facts or the plain truth of their current situation as they perceive it. So this is about real awareness raising for the coachee. Here are some good questions that you can ask them during this stage. What results are you getting now? What is the present level of performance? How would you describe the present situation? What's happening right now? What's going on at this moment? How do you know that that's accurate? When you look at the situation, what do you see? How do you feel about the present situation? What's the impact of the results you're getting now for yourself, for others, for the organisation? What are you doing about it? What have you tried so far? What is your team doing? If nothing changes, what will happen? What other factors are affecting the current situation? What is your part in creating this situation? You can see that it's more useful if their description is as specific as possible rather than broad and generic. By the end of the reality stage, your coachee should be more aware than they previously were about the issue. They've had some new insights. They've realized new things about the current situation that they weren't aware of before. The result of this insight is an increase in their motivation to do something about it. The next stage in the GROW model is O for options. The purpose of this stage is for your coachee to generate ideas, to be creative and to consider all possible solutions and options. The aim is not to identify the one right answer, but rather to think freely without judgment, and for your coachee to generate as many options as they possibly can. During this stage, you need to listen carefully to hear if they try to restrict themselves by prejudging their own ideas. Notice the assumptions made by the coachee about the relative value of the ideas that they come up with. Notice if they think that some ideas seem silly or too ambitious or too risky, and remind them that at this stage, everything is valid and worthy of consideration. As a coach, you can spot these hidden assumptions and skillfully challenge them by using what-if type questions. These will remove their assumptions or limiting beliefs. For example, you could ask, what if that issue or obstacle wasn't a factor? What could be done then? And to keep challenging them to think up even more options. Here are some useful questions that you could use at this stage. How can this goal be achieved? What other ways can this goal be achieved? What options exist? What alternative options are there to solve this problem? What could you do to change the situation? What actions could be taken to give you a different result? What other ways could the result be achieved? How might someone else approach this? In a perfect world, how would this be done? Who else could assist you with this? Now, if you have ideas of your own, you need to choose carefully when you offer them, and before you do, always ask your coachee if they would like to hear them. So once a long list of options has been created, they can start to prioritize them. A simple way that they can do this is to consider the costs and benefits of each of those options, or by simply scoring each of the options from 1 to 10 based on how much they like them. As a result of working through some version of this prioritization, they will choose what they want to do. Then you can move into the last stage of the conversation. This is the W of the GROW model. What will you do? When will you do it? Will you actually do it? And wrapping up. This final part of the coaching is about getting very specific about what action your coachee will take. And there are some very direct and effective questions that you can use for this purpose. These simple questions come directly from the man who created the GROW model, Sir John Whitmore. Here they are. What are you going to do? When are you going to do it? Will this action meet your goal? What obstacles might you meet along the way? What might get in the way? Who needs to know? What support do you need? How and when are you going to get that support? What other considerations do you have? Rate on a 1 to 10 scale the degree of certainty that you have that you will carry out the actions agreed. What prevents it from being a 10? Now, just like the other lists of questions, you don't need to ask every single one like some sort of coaching machine, but rather use your own discernment to ask the questions that you feel are appropriate. If, as you go through this part of the conversation, you sense that your coachee is not that committed to taking action, then you need to go back to the goals and reality stages again as a way of reminding them what they said they wanted to achieve and why. Without your coachee taking action, it's really just been an interesting conversation and nothing more. Insight is just insight. Without any action being taken, nothing different will happen for them. So you do need to check that they're committed to taking at least some actions to enable them to make progress. It's particularly important that you make some notes at this stage. Before you finish, it's a good idea to wrap up by stating exactly what your coachee said they would do, when they would do it, and other specifics that they've mentioned. Then you can give them those notes that you've made. Personally, I always finish off a coaching session by asking if there's anything else that the coachee wants to say that has not been said. Then you can check back with the original goal for the coaching conversation to see if it's been achieved, and then confirm the exact time and date of the next coaching session, if there's going to be one. And that's it. That's the basic structure of the GROW model: goals, reality, options, and what's to be done, by whom, by when, and the will to do it. A very simple 4-stage coaching model that you'll be able to use in most of the coaching conversations that you'll have, whether they last 5 minutes or several hours. Now, next to this video, you can download a list of all those coaching questions that I've mentioned. Feel free to use them in your own coaching sessions. So, thanks for watching and good luck with your coaching.